Yeah, it's rolling. Oh, select. It's rolling.
Alright. We'll praise to see how Hashem Shai, Hashem Ma'arafah Dust. The brothers and also, elders bring us from the world. The Shalom to the home elect. Right, where Hebrews will have to come every to prophesy the downfall of his kingdom. In alignment with biblical prophecy written in and out the Bible, basically. Alright? So yeah, we're in the last days down here in the city, and right now you got these protests going on, Palestine, and in favor of Palestine. You also have another batch of people protesting in favor of the Israelis, but both of them are really, bringing to the forefront the biblical prophecy of the land of the Heavenly Father being trodden down by the heathen. Right? That's how you causing mass confusion and great debate amongst them. Right? And a little known thing to most people is the true people. Because if you deal with it on the level of, from the Palestinian perspective, you can go one way, but if you deal with it from the Israeli perspective, you'll go another way. Well, all it boils down to is who has, the land and everything, the name and everyone that states claim to it. It boils down to historically who's meant to be there and who's meant to be there. So when you really delve into the Bible is where you're going to find all that information, right? Which a lot of people, don't really realize. The same when themselves Palestinians, even the word Palestine goes back to Philistine, all right? Which, when you deal with that, it just echoes the Bible, right? And when you deal with the Israelis, right, the so-called Jews, same thing, it echoes the Bible. If you're going to say Jewish, the only place you're really going to find some kinship in terms of that namesake is inside of the Holy Bible. That and the Bible is like hand in glove. If you try and move away from the Bible, then it's like you basically defeating the same linked standard. You basically kind of up, right? Which really only shows you that the Bible is what lets you know what's what, right? And goes back to the prophecy I mentioned before, by the heathen trampling down that land, until the Heavenly Father, sets everything aright and puts his people in that landmass. Alright? You got anything?
Yeah. Jeremiah 49:20 says, "Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, they have taken against Edom, and his purposes they have purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely you shall make their habitations desolate with them." Yet at least of the flock. Because these protests the brother mentioned, they're basically all circling around that conflict in the Middle East, which now is centralized around Israel, Palestine, and really Iran. Because you basically have the two sides, as far as in the Middle East, are really the state of Israel, which is backed by the US, and then Iran, backed by Russia. And that's really where you have contention, the kind of line through. So that's what we're seeing. So basically, the one person, those in that small portion of land, that's going to draw everyone in. And that's something we're seeing. Because again, it's like, there's been protests back and forth, people discussing it. I remember going back when I was in the world, like roughly the world. So, in the 90s and the 2000s, and even the 2010 when we came in, it's like there's been protests about it. People have spoken about it. But now we've got on another level to where it's got even bigger. And and it's not even like something extra. Well, it's a different kind of scale conflict. But then there's been things that happen that have already been like noteworthy. But then it didn't stir up the same thing. So now it really shows, hey, we're in that time, and these things are now becoming that, you know, that heavy, that big topic, man, that focal topic. I'll read this. Second Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition, well, yeah, the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people standing against another. We've essentially been in that time of conflict. But again, it's like with Matthew 24, where it said, you know, there'll be those skirmishes, but it says what? The end is not yet. There's basically events that need to take place so we can know it's the end. But again, it's a sign. It's a sign of a sign. There's other prophecies we see them all lining up. I didn't realize it was long. I realized it's fucking, it's Pride Month, and they ain't even doing that shit. But they're still doing Israel-Palestine. It's kind of funny still. Normally with Pride, it's like you must. Yeah, I don't know why you take it.
You know, you might as well say it to the camera.
But yeah, that's how much of a focus has been to where it's like, it's what, I don't know if the camera had it. No, I was going to re-forgive it. Like with it being June, you know, it's Pride Month, and then we ain't even seen the usual like march or whatever take place. Normally it would be back to back every weekend to kind of see it, but then what we've seen today, it's been both a march for State Israel and March for Palestine. So that's become even more the focus than like the usual like June main presence, which would be Pride. Which, hey, shows that thing is hey, it's built that much steam, that much focus to where it's like, yeah, that's what it's all about. It says what for the sword, 2nd Ezra 15:15, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, but the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Yeah, that's sedition among men. That makes, you know, all that conflict building up. That's something we're seeing. It's kind of been, you know, made clearer. Like the lines have been made clearer, and like maybe when you go to the US, it's like during the political lines between like the left and the right, that's really become kind of a point where people are saying it could erupt into a civil war. That's how far like the gap's gone. And that's how it is with a lot of issues. The main one for the US is immigration. That's like one of the big ones as a focal point. But then it's also, you know, military funding, sending weapons overseas. There's other things that kind of are drawing people in. But these things are all essentially, you know, going to result in that big social unrest, man, where, you know, violence will take place. You had like, well, you had what's her face get pushed, the Denmark PM, the Danish PM. You had the guy in I think was it Czech, Slovakia maybe. I think it was Slovakia. Yeah, that guy got shot 4 times, like. And these are things that are happening where it's just like now, when you deal with a political situation, you know, violence is getting involved. And that's something that, hey, we're going to see more and more. So it says, verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, but because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So yes, it's going to boil over to where everyone's going to be affected. Where you can come and go from a place is going to be impacted. You know, the average dude is going to be impacted. Or even with, you had the discussion come up again of what do you call it, conscription, and that's something now you've got what in a matter of weeks over here in the UK you've got an election, and then maybe for now it might be something that's on the back burner, but I know people saying, well, you know, because of the state of the world, there might be like a mandatory 2 years needed for most young men, and that's something that after the election you might see it come in, be discussed. And then, hey, depending on how that goes, you know, people are going to feel a certain way about it. This is what, verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, and shall destroy the houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. So yeah, this is basically what? That civil war situation. These things are spoken of in prophecy. They're going to come to pass. And now we basically see the seeds of these things in place. But what? It basically just takes any kind of little spark to ignite it. Any incident can basically make it boil over. And it mentions as well, because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. Chaotic situation, and it's as well with that where you're going to have that micro seeding. That's going to be basically seen as, well, it needs to be seen as something desirous for people. And you have with what is it, movies like Children of Men, where you had the inner city like central London, where you can still continue with life to a certain extent. There were people that were just living and enjoying themselves as if everything was normal. But then you go out, it gets way more chaotic. Those are going to be the kind of differences you have to where people will be like, okay, let me jump on this. They're going to view it as a form of salvation. Because it's going to be necessary to operate within the system. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their bed. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Right, so the elites in this society have an agenda, alright? And first and foremost, the elites of this society are the banking families, headed by the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, DuPonts, Gettys, Shalom. Yeah, so different banking families, and they basically they have an agenda at hand, right, which they've been exercising going back a few 100 years. All right, you had Albert Pike come out with I forget the name of the document, but he basically broke down what the use of the Free World War would do, right? And when you see the First and Second War, you can see that everything he spoke to bring it into fruition has come to pass. Alright, and they're fooled in that agenda. What you don't know, these, you know, some people say, oh, these elites are reptilian. That's a whole heap of madness. But they deal with the left-hand side, right? They're into witchcraft, wizardry, alright, doing things that align with the devil, basically. And they do seances, sacrifices, all these types of things to basically get
instruction from the left-hand side. And this is what we're seeing come to pass in this present society. That's why for the last, what, could talk 50 to 70 odd years, there's been a great turn of morality of society. Right? A lot of things that would have been looked down the nose at, they've now become, you know, a fixture in terms of, you know, this is right and it's not wrong. And that's really dealing with what the Heavenly Father called the image of the beast, right? Because we are in the rulership of Esau Edom, right? Who is the true biblical nationality of the soul world, right? Everyone walking this earth comes from a race, right? Biblical race, exactly. And race, the word race itself goes back to the Latin word rasa, which means seed. Right, so everyone has a lineage of land they come from, right, and there's, I believe, 18, I believe it's 18 races. Yeah. I was going to say, I'm sure it's 18, I'm going to double check. But there's only 18 races. Right? Oh, it will, yeah. I think that's why I'm thinking. So there's only 18 races, right? So when you hear someone say, I'm from this country and that, those countries, I can guarantee you, never existed some odd, you know, even 10 years ago, like South Sudan, North Sudan, right? These places only existed recently. And that really shows you how ideal of race goes beyond a jurisdiction of a landmass, right? But these biblical nationalities, they've been spoken and prophesied of in terms of what they're going to do in this last day, right? Why this is so important, because in order for you to know what time we're in, these things are happening, you have to be privy to this information. So when you get Micah 2 and 1, woe to them that devise iniquity, so destruction to them that devise iniquity, because this man has devised iniquity, alright, and it's a destruction laying wait for them, and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away, so that they impress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Right. So when you deal with it, now the brother's gone into dealing with martial law. Right. Right now you have a thing known as gentrification, alright, where a lot of people are being priced out of their original towns and cities and whatnot, and being pushed outside of where they grew up, right? But there's a bigger agenda than just to make these areas more appealing, right? There's an agenda of setting up these 15-minute towns and cities, whereby you have people living there and a restriction in those places. And they're setting up, that's basically setting up an infrastructure, a grid, if you will, where people have that ceiling, like the brother mentioned, and they can only, you know, stay within that jurisdiction. And I was shown in the movie In Time, alright? And you might wonder why we mention movies and things like that. There's a thing known as predictive programming, right? Even when you deal with Hollywood, right? Why does Hollywood have the name Hollywood, right? Why is there a lot of weird things that happen to them? Because they're basically doing a lot of magical, endeavors in that landmass, alright? The word Hollywood goes back to the word hollow wood, right? Which speaks to a witch's one, where they're basically broadcasting and passing spells on people, right? And that's being done through programming. The whole idea of you seeing someone saying, oh, they saw a UFO due to Hollywood, right? You think that person's a weirdo, or there's aliens in it, but that's something you've seen in the movie. Have they ever, shown you, like, wrapped up a UFO and said, look, these are who's inside there?
And you got some bobblehead, big-eyed youth in Roswell that they've kept hidden. But that's how I remember, even though it was the TV show Roswell. That was like late 90s, early 2000s when that was running. And that was kind of around the concept of aliens. So that's something that's repeatedly been utilized over and over. And it's like all these different concepts. There's my people's ideas about certain places of the world, certain people, certain, especially when you deal with when you deal with history, a lot of what people's expectations are is just by having seen, they might have seen, watched TV shows or seen movies, and that basically is informing their viewpoint on these things. But then, like the brother said, these things are all used for really to get the minds of the people. So I read this, Isaiah 47:12. It says, "Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail." And as it says, stand now with thine enchantments, and the sorceries labored in from your youth. These are things that Esau's been utilizing from the beginning. That's really how he a big part of how he established himself. Even when you deal with what they call the wickedest man on earth, Aleister Crowley, when he was getting into witchcraft, seances, Egyptology, all these ancient forms of wickedness, that was a general vibration going throughout Esau's world. People would just collect up together and get a Ouija board, or do a seance, or do different things, try and channel spirits. That's just something they'll get into. That was something that just aligned with their spirit. Because why? That's how they function, how they get down. It's the same thing as why you have a Jake, and then they'll just vibe with the Bible. They might grow up in the church, but even then they'll still have a certain amount of their spirit inclining towards the book. Because why? That's just something programmed into how they are. It's the same thing with Esau. But then, as far as with what he's trying to achieve through it, he's trying to achieve. Like Brother said, he's trying to achieve his aims, his ends. And that's why now as well you see it pushed out to the general populace. Because why? It basically it's drawing everyone in and normalizing it for them. And it's like as things go forward, they're kind of more opened up. They're opened up to all forms of wickedness, to where they're just viewing it as, oh, well, this is just living. This is just how people are. Because that's how a lot of things are basically been. You deal with during the Dark Age, when you're Jake in power, certain things are outlawed. A good example is the Olympics. The Olympics was basically a ceremony honoring those ancient Greek god customs, man. Where it was dealing with the story of Prometheus and stealing fire from the gods, and then him being, him basically being punished for that. That the whole torch passing ritual is basically reverencing and honoring them. But then, as far as for now, people will just be like, oh, they just see a bunch of celebrities. I remember the 2012 Olympics. There would just be like a bunch of celebrities and whatnot. They'll run with it for a little while, they'll pass it to someone else, blah blah, and they'll talk about the torches. But then people don't know the origins and where these things go back to. And that's like a lot of things in modern life. They'll be doing things where they're honoring ancient pagan customs, but they won't even be aware.
Yeah, I got this. I'll read this quickly. Nahum 3 and 4. Because of the multitude of the wealth of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft, that selleth nations through a whoredom, and families through a witchcraft. Right. So the culture of this place, hey, we can even delve into it, like I mentioned before, the image of the beast. Right, when you deal with the image of the beast, it's basically an ideology that a lot of people take after and put in the forefront of their mind. Right, there's certain things culturally that would, as I mentioned before, that would have been looked down to know, but now, through time and patience, right, it's been pumped to make it seem like a sign of cruelty. Right, where you have people basically aligning themselves with the whole LGBT agenda. Right, you going back a certain amount of years, they would have said you were mentally ill if you were homosexual. Right, but it's a legitimate work. It's like a half century, like not even that long ago, like in living memory.
So you have certain people that, believe certain things, culturally, that they don't approve of in this generation, right? But that's a order that, starting with America being Babylon the Great, the elites of society, they're basically the big marketing company. They're like the focal point in terms of marketing this agenda, right? That a lot of people take notes, right? Witchcraft, order, right? Read on. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord Jehovah, and I will discover thy spoils and I will show the nations thy nakedness, thy kingdom thy shame, and I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stone. And it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? When shall I seek comforters for thee? Right. There's going to come a time and a moment where it's not going to be the infant, it's not going to be cool, it's not going to be trendy for you to align yourself with that agenda that is so in high regard in this moment in time. Alright? But it has to come to a fever pitch, basically. It has to come to a climax. Alright? Because even when you deal with right now, the brother mentioned before, with the micro seeding, that's going to be the main point as to where, it's a get down or lay down kind of scenario, right? Are you with it or are you against it? Because if you're not with it, what's going to happen is you basically stand a chance of getting beheaded or just being left to the dogs in terms of not aligning yourself with the government and me and then having to fend for yourself out in the world, all right? And then some people, like, however it plays out, you might see it coming and you say, man, fuck, like, F this, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. I'm putting a runner. Because you can see everything that's coming. It's going to be total control, all right? And where you think it's going to be a godsend, you're going to really realize that you're basically like an ant in a young child's magnifying glass, where if he wants to set you alight, burn you, pick off your leg, he can do whatever he wants, all right? And this man ain't to be trusted. A lot of you don't realize that this man has horns that he wants to show, all right? He's hiding them really because you're blinded by all the things that are in front of you. But there's a good TV show I'm watching right now, on Netflix.
It's the same one based on the movie. The one they did with Chris Evans.
No, I didn't watch it.
I'm sure you watched it. You watched probably came to the truth,
But I don't remember. Maybe there's a review of mine, I know, because they keep marketing. But they got them in the TV series. And the guy that basically is like at the helm of it regarding the rich old, white money. Rich white old money. He basically is like, everyone regards him like highly. But until they really deal with him, they realize the pointless self-centered piece of shit. Right? And the basic, to unfold and realizing that, everything they hype him up to be, he isn't really that type of person. Right? But they're gonna find out the hard way. And it's the same on this side. You're gonna find out the hard way. Because you think that it's a thing of a matter of, like, this man, whatever we want, go ahead, we do this, and that.
you think they have autonomy within the system.
Yeah. But it's a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a trap, basically. It's something to reel you in. Yeah, it's a snare. So you're gonna find out, right?
That's just like, if you consider like people think, they have the freedom to choose and do certain things. There'll be people where they might want to become a Hollywood director. They might think, they can just, if they make a film that's just good enough, they'll get in. Then a lot of these like industries, they're basically closed off. You're gonna need someone to bring you in, and then they might have to be like, okay, they want certain power over you, and they want you to compromise yourself in certain ways to basically let you in. And that's how a lot of these so-called illustrious industries work. Rick, it's just on your point, Habakkuk 2:15. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, but putteth thy bottle to him, makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on his nakedness. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. And yeah, that shameful spewing, that's basically these things, that nakedness, that leg being made bare, these things have been happening to a higher and higher degree within, especially within Babylon. Hollywood, which we're going into, which for like over a century was seen as an illustrious, great organization. People would extol to the heavens. They'll be like, oh, these directors, these actors, whatever. They were viewed as like role models and idols. But then what's the truth that's coming out? It's everyone, all of these guys are low life pieces of shit. They've known and been party to all kinds of vile criminal acts. Everyone was, as soon as Harvey Weinstein got exposed, everyone was just like, oh, fuck this guy. But then, meanwhile, you go back to the speeches, then you had like quotes like, what's her name, Meryl Streep saying like, oh, Harvey Weinstein, which we also call him God. And I'm just like, damn, these guys were. And there was all kind of quotes about his nature, which in retrospect you look at it, you're like, oh, okay, so these guys knew. But that's how Esau's world functions. All these things where it's like, it seems, illustrious, great, honorable. You get to the bottom of it, it ain't so, man. Not on that, but on Isaiah 47. So Isaiah 47, 13, it says, thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. And yeah, that's ultimately what's all these, all that left-hand side energy, all that witchcraft that's basically being invested and energy being put into it. It's what? To try and bring about his desires. He's trying to bring about his plan. That's what these elites are utilizing this for. But then ultimately, where's it go to? They're not. That's not going to be able to be fulfilled. It's the same thing as as Babylon, where it said, how for her take balm for her. If so be she may be healed. As far as the Babylon, if it were possible, then there might be some root within it. Then what? What's it say? She can't be healed. It's the same thing for like Esau avoiding the end of his kingdom. These things have been spoken, the word's gone out. That word needs to accomplish what's been sent out to do. And that's definitely going to come to pass now. But then again, it's like the brother mentioned, up until it gets to that complete crisis point, or even beyond it, people are still going to have, right up until the missiles drop, people are going to have faith within the system. They're going to be putting the utmost trust in Esau and his system to their destruction.
I don't even know what to do with that.
No. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The flame, the fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. And yeah, that's essentially it's going to be what it's going to be done. The whole system, man. Because even with let me grab something. Dealing with Babylon, man. Everyone's invested. For Revelation 18 and 3. Let me start from 2. It says, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So yeah, just as Robert went into that wine, man. That wine knows that image of the beast. That's basically been put. That's been put to everyone. All these different nations are basically partook. They're all party to it. They're basically enjoying their portion of it. Because why? Dealing with it, there's benefits to it. There's certain benefits you get, which is the main reason most people are messing with it. It says what? For all nations are drunk of the wine of her fornication, and the wine of the earth and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven say, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and ye receive not of her plagues. So yeah, there's going to be that separation of the elect. They're going to be saved out. Says what? Do you not be partakers of her sin? And that's something even before you're meant to be in a mindset. There's something essentially that has displayed where that mindset's at has been with what the jump ship now. That's basically been a key example of basically those trust in the system and those that have faith. That have faith in Yahweh Hashem Yahweh. Because as far as with it, in the moment at the time, it was looking like, yo, you won't be able to travel, you might not be able to work, and might not be able to go out and visit certain places and do certain activities. That was the level it was on. When it was being there were people that were in jobs where it got to the point where they had to the fact it was the job. They got booted off the job because they didn't get it. So a certain amount of integrity basically had to be displayed for you to be like, okay, well, I'm going to trust in, hey, I ain't going to be fucked, I ain't going to take it just to maintain my job. But then what we had people that did, certain groups that did that. But there was something from the jump as far as when it comes to GMS was made plain. They don't take it. And now that's the same level of decision you're gonna make when it comes to that micro C hip, man. That's something where you're gonna have to essentially be like, yo, you're gonna take it, be condemned, or what, or not. And like the brother said, it might not even be you might see in advance and have to be like, no, I'm gonna have to cut out. Or it might be something where your life's in jeopardy when you don't take it. There's varying degrees and levels it can go to. Says what? For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High reward her even as she rewarded you, double unto her, double according to her works, and the cup which she filled to her double. Yeah, so it's basically going to be a recompense. That's another thing that people kind of deal with. Like it's not we're meant to be beyond that. But then when you deal with recompense, that's something that first of all each of them would be able to set the parameters for it. And then secondly, anyway, like whatever you're offering, it's not going to be worthwhile, man. That's something that's, hey, the Lord's basically going to decide the form that takes, man. Which is why in the kingdom there's going to be slavery, man. These kingdoms, the different nations are basically putting that hard bondage. But verse 7, how much ye have glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. But she saith in her heart, I sit queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Yeah. So that's the thing, it says how much she glorified herself and lived deliciously. It's essentially been able to, to enjoy the fruits of all that wickedness, man, of all that theft, of all that stealing. That makes a lot of things go up, primarily in America. But those are things that there's going to be a recompense for, and it's basically not going to last.
This is the book of 1 Maccabees 1, and I'll start from verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years, died, and he served their rule, everyone in his place. And after his death, they opened crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. And then, well, that's the point. I'll read it again, verse 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied upon the earth. So this is the Bible speaking about Alexander, what this world calls the Great, all right, and how the Greek rulership is held, or Greco-Roman rulership is deemed the beginning of civilization. When you read the Bible's saying that's when wicked evils multiplied upon the earth. All right, when they were putting up, erecting statues of butt-naked individuals that were called sages, or like the David, for example. All these different things, the Heavenly Father deemed that wickedness. Right, the philosophy, the mindset, wickedness in the eyes of the Heavenly Father. Now it's the same. I forgot why I read this. It's something. What were you speaking about? No. During this time of their rulership, they basically opened up the Bible and started to paint the likeness of the images, like I mentioned, of David, right? You have David standing up like a statue, butt naked, right? They started to open the Bible, and these, our forefathers, our foreparents, their great illustrious history, right? They basically painted it in their likeness, right? Made them to look like a so-called white man, so-called white woman, which is something known as iconoclasm. Right, because you had Vladimir Putin, the villain of the earth at this point in time. He basically pulled out the Russian icon and showed that all so-called dark-skinned people, right, that were people inside of the Bible, right? Now that being the point, then they know how to work the minds of the people and infiltrate and set these things, so that you going forward hold them in high regard as opposed to the truth of God. Right?
Vancouver doesn't have this tree. Yeah. Or castles.
John 10, verse 10. The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. Yeah, it's really the two pathways, right? You have the pathway of dealing with, thief, these sort of so-called white men who come forth and to steal and to kill and to destroy. The basis of how civilization was established and how it's been maintained. To this day, it's still what? Death, destruction, and robbery.
There were different cases, I remember.
But then with when dealing with your house try, it's what? It's come that we might have life. And that's something that, part of the brother mentioned, part of that wine, man, part of the image of the beast, people not really being aware of even what life is, man, or how to live. People, the activities that they're engaging in, the lifestyle they're engaging in within the system, these things aren't even conducive to life or to living, man. When you deal with food's a good example. Even that, when next September, this is when you deal with cities, they've been established on rivers. That's what a river is, essentially the lifeblood of civilization. You need that supply of running water, fresh water. But then what, when you go to the Thames, it's looking grim, man. It's looking murky. If you were to drink from the Thames, probably drop dead on the spot. Well, ain't gonna be looking too good for you. But that's essentially what is, within the civilization, the means of the lifestyle by which, you can maintain and sustain yourself.
Yeah,
that's not, as far as within the Esau system, in the so-called white man system, that's not what's promoted. Why is it you have even healthy activities, lifestyle, diet, exercise, even things that are meant to keep your mental health in a better state? Those things aren't promoted. Now, probably the thing doing the most psychological damage on the planet Earth is like social media. That's something that's promoted. We even have it given to children. So they're getting completely fried in their noggin, before they even hit puberty. They're stuck. But it's why? It's because, hey, the lifestyle, everything about it is still averse to life. And that's really what, we're investing. We're basically trying to build up, a means for us to basically receive that reward at the end. So we basically participate in the kingdom of heaven. That's what we're looking for. We're trying to speed along our way towards it. Because as far as the hairs, it's like, what? Now, everything's all about death, man. We're trying. We are. God.
We're hasting the day. Right? I was doing these works, even like since the start of this decade, time has been in a hyperdrive basically. Like yesterday was 2020, or even like 2020 to 2019. It's a message. Well, vocab, unfortunately you ain't gonna find us, man. Okay. If you do, it'll be the spirit, but you're barking up the wrong tree. Right? No, we're not going to invite you out there. We're being simple. This is the book of Proverbs, the 6th chapter. Right? And I'll start from verse 12. A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a forward mouth. He winketh with his eyes, he speaketh with his feet. He teacheth with his fingers. Forwardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. He soweth discord. Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. Right, so when you have individuals such as yourself, right? Because you've been on a tangent, going from different brothers within the camp over here in the UK, and trying to, hopefully find someone simple enough to say, yeah, we're over here, come and speak to us, or desirous of some form of
spotlights for you to go back and forth, do whatever you do.
Oh, shut up.
We know that you have an agenda, right? You're out to basically make a fool out of us, right? Discredit the truth. But this thing's gonna stand whether you like it or not, right? And all the things that you're basically looking to do, they're gonna find you in a way that you're not even ready to deal with, all right? Those things they're gonna be found, right? Like I'll read it again. Verse 15, it says, forwardness is in his heart. He divides mission continually, so if discord. Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. Right. Whether it be immediately, before the time of judgment, or it be during the time of the slave judgment, how the Heavenly Father put things aligned, like we don't know. Right? We're set up to do our job in terms of prophesying the things that to come before they arrive. Right? Make it known unto his elect. Right? But as far as your judgment is going to come whenever it's going to come. Right?
Matthew 7 and 6. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend them. Yeah, what this guy Volker, what he's looking for is something that's beyond him. As far as it says, give not that which is holy unto dogs. When it comes to this truth, it's really what? It's for those, basically, those, if you have ears to hear, let him hear. And this guy's basically coming with an agenda. That's the thing, it's something, that's what been happened before. Even when you go to the book of Acts, then you have people working with heavy agendas against the apostles. But then what? It's something, those are going to take place. Then again, it's the approach is you have to laugh at it. Just try to DM everyone, any and everyone. Habakkuk 2 and 3. Well, I'll start from Habakkuk 2 and 2. It says, and the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And yeah, again, with as far as for those visions, these things have been spoken of from before, even from the time of Enoch. But then what? Now we're in the time where these things can now be broken down. We basically come to when you go to 2,000 years ago, the words didn't exist. Thermonuclear missile, America, Russia, Iran. Imagine before, they changed their name. It was like 60 years ago. No, maybe like 60, 70 years ago. Them guys changed from Persia to Iran. So it's now we're in a time where, essentially, to pass these prophecies, to be able to piece it together, we would need to be in these times. But then what? Now we're in a time where they're essentially coming to pass. Because what's it say? Verse 4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yet also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. All these things are going into the soul of the white man, and how he's established himself on the earth. His soul is what? It's not upright. He was basically set with a particular purpose. When you go into when you do with Esau, then what? Proverbs 16:4. The wicked was made for
What
the
do you want
day
me
of
to
evil.
do? I'm telling
They'll
you.
basically
About
sell
AP,
for what? To basically establish a civilization that would reach the pinnacle of wickedness. And that's the job they're doing right now. But then what's it say? The just will live by faith. Yea also, because he transgressed by wine, he was a proud man, neither keepeth at home, when large of his desire is hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him who increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Yeah, that's essentially, you've got all these different nations around the world, coming to the realization of who they've been dealing with. Because when you go to Esau, especially going by America, the way they've engaged with different nations around the world, they basically come through by force and force them to have to deal with their system. And now they're getting the what would it be, the negative on the end of that. That's why you had even what do you call it? Hell, I think it was one of them said that their the birth rate hit the lowest point ever. And then it's white. So the system they established over there, they're basically utilizing that same, they're following wandering after the beast. They're basically utilizing this society up following after that, which then results in what? All those focuses where, essentially everyone is working for, for the good of the elites. They're basically about propagating the system. It's not about life anymore. But then what? People, they're not clued in. They're not aware of these things. They think that as far as when it comes to modern society, that this is the best that life's ever been. Meanwhile, you might establish a house, and then your wife, after a few years, decides, you know what, I don't love you anymore. And she exits out with kids. And then all that you worked and built for is done. Verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for rules unto them? And yeah, these other nations, they're basically gonna, kill something. As far as within society now, when you deal with the perception of America and Americans, it's basically an all-time low. There was a point in time that would have been seen as, smarter, wiser, stronger, better economy, all these various aspects. There would have been that shine about America. All these things have basically now turned into dross.
James 5:1. Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have eaten treasure together for the last days. Right, so that you mentioned, you read, I don't know if that's the last scripture you read it before, dealing with Habakkuk, laden with clay, right? Which means debt. Alright, the heavy debts. And when you deal with this financial system that Esau is basically proliferating on the whole earth, it's a debt-based system. Right? Unless there's a massive amount of people in debt, this system can't thrive. Right? And really by the administering of central banks the world over, this world basically, or his rulership, can't really don't have the same amount of power. Alright? Now, there are a few nations left that don't have a central bank,
And they're on a hit list of main countries that need to be invaded, all right? Because ultimately that's the power structure. If that falls apart, right, even if you deal with the dollar being a world reserve currency, alongside that, the banking industry, if it falls apart, basically the power that this man holds is going to fall out of his grip, right? So let's read it again. So 5:1, it says, go to you now, you rich men, weak and howl for your misery, that shall come upon you. Right, so this is a direct message from the spirit of prophecy to the elites of society. Dealing with, as you mentioned before, the bankers that basically rule over this earth. This is direct. They understand, when they hear this, they don't understand what it is. Right, let's go sky over the heads of the regular individual walking up and down the street. But it's a direct message to them. They really understand what's being said. Your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. Right. So the riches that they have, again, going into that debt, laden with basically, you know, been taken away and have lost it. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be witness against you. And you shall eat your flesh, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasure together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is kept back by fraud crieth. Right, and who's the laborers? Well, that's talking about the tribe in this side, dealing with the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They're basically the true people of the Heavenly Father, all right, and they're the laborers that basically built this kingdom into the state that it's in, right? And that's why you have, headed by the tribe of Judah over there in America, all right? They'll always be screaming about reparations. But no one understand how much work they put in to build up America, and America's pull and reach over the world is really due to them breaking their backs for the course of 400 years. Right? If that didn't happen, the power structure, all this, the world as you know it, wouldn't exist. Right? Everything you know and see with these buildings, the sugar distribution, should I say, right? Cotton, all these different things. The world would just go into a vacuum and disappear. Right? But that's why it said what it said. I'll read it again. James 5:4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is kept back by fraud prior. Right? They kept back. All of this wealth is kept back by fraud. Right? And the fraud is, as I mentioned before, dealing with the banking. Alright? When you put money in a bank, that basically really don't exist. Right? They operate under something known as fractional reserve banking. Right? Where you put in a pound, it basically gets multiplied by 10 or by 9, should I say. So that wealth don't really exist the way you think it exists. Right? But and even when we really take it, go back to 1933, the gold standard, right? It's money, it's paper money. You know, when you read it on the pound, on a paper note, whether it be $1, a pound, it has a ledge, or sorry, a pledge to basically pay the person with the money a set amount of money, right? Whether it be pounds or dollars. Now, the reason why I said a deed, but the reason why I said the reason why it says a pound, right? A pound is a weight, right? And 1 pound would have been known as 1 pound of silver, right? That's why you had shillings, pennies, and all these things being used, because a pound would have been a substantial amount of money, right? When you deal with a dollar, you'd have a $20 note, basically was an ounce of gold, and then you had a silver dollar, which was basically $1 was the equivalent to an ounce of silver, right? But all those things got washed away and taken away. Why? Because they basically done a big money grab and took away the wealth, the true wealth being silver and gold, away from the people and gave them paper money. Now, paper money allows them to operate under fraud, right, whereby they can inflate the money, right? Because all it is paper. If I can print it, more of it is in existence, right? But then you think you can just print money, it means you're rich. No, it actually devalues the quality of time. I was 50 pence. £1.20, 80p, 90p, if you're lucky. That's inflation. It's because if you bring in money, right, especially over in America, world kind of thing, that was basically helicopter money that just got given to the people. And now we're dealing with the brunt of it through inflation. But really what you got to look out for is hyperinflation, right, which ain't too far away from us, right, whereby the government's going to come out and say, look man, this money that we have, if you want to buy a loaf of bread, you've got to spend £5, £10, £20. Right now what happens within a minute, a matter of moment, morning to evening. Yep. What happens is a matter of moments, mental, you know. It could be in, 2 minutes, it could be within 10 hours, then what happens? Right, so let's read it again from James 5:4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped your field, which is kept back by 4 criers, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the heirs of the Lord of Sabaoth. Right, so the Lord of Sabaoth is the Heavenly Father. Right, and Sabaoth, when you go into the word there, it goes back to the Hebrew word Tazabah, which basically means host or army, the Lord of armies. Let's build upon that. Let me read this quickly. Right, so look at Exodus 15 and 3. The Lord Yahweh is a man of war. The Lord Yahweh is his name. Right? So the Heavenly Father's one of his key attributes is being a warlord, basically. He likes the idea of warfare. Right? And warfare is many planes, and he's all for it, man. So these cries of the laborers have gone into the ears of the Heavenly Father, and now he's going to act upon it. Right?
Ezekiel 28. I'll start from verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Again, that's what Prophet was saying. You have these different forms of when you deal with prior to, like, I think it was in the 60s, I think 67, maybe 66, when the gold standard, when the US dollar came off the gold standard. But prior, the reason why the dollar was even the world reserve currency was because it was backed by gold. Essentially, these different countries were like, oh well, to peg our currency, we'll utilize the dollar because the dollar's backed by gold. And that was the last one. You had other currencies where they came off it. But then what happened is afterwards, then once the dollar came off gold, it was all up in the air. And the thing with this is those paper itself then just became paper. But then the gold, the silver, these precious metals, those things were then able to be controlled by the banks. And that's why you're meant to have, like, what is it, Fort Knox? What was the movie? Was it the first Die Hard, right? Was it Die Hard with all women? I don't know. Make your point. We had Fort Knox. Yeah, Die Hard with Vengeance. You had Fort Knox, what was meant to be full of gold. But then these things, as far as for the dollar to operate, those things aren't necessary. And all these precious metals, they've basically been pilfered off elsewhere. And that's really what you have. But then, as far as people's awareness of what they've lost, that makes them unaware of the true worth of money. So then it's meant to be physical things like land, cattle, precious metals, precious materials. Those are things that are meant to be as well. Someone might think, oh, they've got a stack of you do these you see these drug raids where there'll be like huge stacks of US dollars just like on a bench. But in reality, the actual worth of that, you could take like, I don't know, a palm full of cotton. That's going to have more actual worth. Because as far as with the US dollars, it's only backed by the system. And that's the system's only going to be in operation for a certain period of time. Once it's done, it's done. Yep.
Revelation 6 and 9. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Most High, for a testimony which they held. They cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them, that they should rest for a little season, until their fellow servants also, their brethren, that should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled. So right, the Heavenly Father is going to basically set out whereby you have certain of these people that have to be put to death, right, by way of beheading, right? So when you go back into the Roman Empire, that's basically, right, the same thing happening this time that we're presently in. Right? We're set to basically go through that same form of judgment, right? Because we're going to come to a fever pitch when this shit goes down in terms of the mark, dealing with the mark of the beast, right? The seed implementation of the seed, things of that nature, right? They're basically going to start utilizing what's known as guillotines, all right? Alright, because they have a more sinister agenda at hand than killing the Heavenly Father's people. They want to do that. Also, they want to harvest the organs of people. Because, different organs go for tens of thousands of dollars or pounds, right, whatever happens. Right? So that's the reason why they wouldn't want to give them a lethal injection and rather carve their head and then harvest their organs. Right, that's even why you have people turn up missing in the Thames. They got their lungs missing or their bladder, some crazy, internal organs. But some harvesting their organs. Right, on the black market, they can make a lot of cross the arm and a leg to basically get those internal organs. Right? So, being the point, let me read it again. So it says, Revelation 6 and 9. Right? When he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Most High, for a testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, hour, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? Right? Because always what the Heavenly Father is going to do, there is going to be a time of vengeance. Right? And that's going to be, that ain't going to be a militia that's going to come out regardless. We're talking about angels being sent forth to basically do the bidding of the Heavenly Father. Right? It's going to be more, they saying goes, truth is stranger than fiction. It's going to be some great, strange, challenging times for people on earth. Right? Because you're going to see things, magnitude, you never believe. Right? Because the Heavenly Father is going to make his presence. All you got to think about, and this is the thing, I'm saying it like this, it's something that's open to everyone, but not everyone reads the Bible. If you read the entire Bible, there's some triple shit in that book, right? And you really understand that. The things that are going to come into play are going to be those things that are inside the book, right?
Revelation 2 and 10 says, Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you to prison, that you may be tried. and you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. As it says, yeah, be thou faithful unto death. It's depending on the circumstance as well. There are those that are marked for it. As it said, you know, there are those where they're going to have to go to the end of the guillotine. But then what's it say? It's about holding your integrity. Basically, enduring to the end. Because as it is, it's going to be what? Tribulation, trouble, trials, hardships. Those are the things that are essentially tied to, you know, being in this word, man, being in this truth. That's something that's essential. That's core to the experience. And that's really where that hard line is going to be when it comes to, you know, this micro scene. It's full of health. It's basically going to be, you know, the allure of things continuing as they are once you get it versus hardship.
Revelation 8:1. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. Right? Intermission. And I saw the seven angels who stood before the Most High, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given him unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, as ascended up before the Most High, out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar, and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. All right, so the Heavenly Father, those prayers that we make, all right, are the sighing and crying that we do. All right, it doesn't go out without the attentive being, without the Heavenly Father being attentive to those prayers. Right, even when you sigh and cry, that's why He sent forth the angels. Remember when you read in the book of Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, it tells you, go forth to them and sigh and cry for all the abominations that were done in the midst thereof. You simply sighing at the troubles in your lifetime, right? Obviously the children of Israel, that is, right? The Heavenly Father hears that, and he feels your pain, right? And that's why there's gonna come a time where He said He basically ain't gonna hold His tongue with you. All right? Here you go. I got silence. Right, so Job 20. I'll start from 4. Knowest thou not of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach into the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? Right, when you go into history, you had the Greeks ruling, right? You had Alexander take over the earth in impeccable fashion, right? Within 12 years, he subdued such a great army that basically no one even dreamed of ever stepping up to the Persians. But he did it, right? From the small island over there in the Greek Isles, right? Took over the whole known world at that time, right? They really know the whole world, right? He took over the whole world at that time where they were dwelling, all right? And no one would have ever thought that the Persians would took out
in like fashion, when the Greeks came up and the Romans, no one thought that they would subside from power, but they did. And this current kingdom, though it, is set in a way where, life, you always think you're gonna be able to wake up in the morning, enjoy your weekend, or go and about your business, do this, do that. That's not how the world goes, right? The Heavenly Father has a plan, right? It's going to be executed. Whether you like it or not, it's actually being executed as we speak right now. That's why you have Russia and America at odds in such a fashion they are. Because World War III is on the horizon, right? And that's something that whether you like it or not, it's coming into play, it's going to happen. Just like when you go back to World War I, World War II, all these things come to pass, all right? And you may have had people that were on the sideline saying, it'd be nice if we could just live our life normally, but they got sucked into the world warfare, all right? So reading on, it says, verse 7, yet shall he perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? Right? So these powers that be right now, Rothschild, Rockefeller, DuPont, Gettys, right, the helm of the so-called white race, the Edomites, right, they basically got an agenda, all right, and even more so than anything, they're about self more than their race as a whole, right, because they have an elect, right, the same TV series I spoke of was spoken. If you were meant to be on the train, you had to see him, right? And it allowed you access to certain places. Okay, if you weren't part of the train, you were basically designated as what they call a derogatory term of a tailor, right? You could have been an upstanding citizen, upper middle class or whatever, but it's just the means of how you found out about the train, they weren't favorable, right? So you were looked down on those by the people that were basically designated to have a space on that train, right? But the point being is that his agenda is that you have to believe, right? Only a handful of people that are going to be kept during that time period. Let's read on verse 8. He shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the land. Right? That should make some like this. Yeah, if you go, let me see if I can find it.
Psalm 75 and 6. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor the west, nor the south. But the Most High is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. The Most High is the judge. Basically, he's the one that brings up and set down. That's why when you're dealing with the current system, you talk to the average Joe, you told them America's going to be destroyed. They're going to start nodding their head, and the eyes are going to glaze over. As far as for them, this is not something that can come to pass. When they're dealing with the current, essentially the current system, this current rulership, most people can't see anything beyond it. But then it's wise because they don't have a frame to kind of understand it. The Most High established this, man. These things have been set up. We're in a society where even having faith in the scriptures, that's something that's frowned on. People are looking at these things like, they think science has all the answers. They don't realize it's when you deal with the elites, even the elites know. These guys know the scriptures are true. They're just trying to go find some means of circumvention. It says, for in the hand of the Lord Yahweh there is a cup, and the wine is bread. It is full of mixture, and he poureth out the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall bring them out and drink them. And yeah, that's something that's been reserved, man. For the one that's been, there's been people set up and people put down. Right now, Jacob has been put down. And then what? Esau's been raised up. But then regardless, those dregs, they're reserved for Esau, man. That's why that's his role. His role was to establish this place and then what? Get it taken out of the way.
Psalm 73 and 17. Until I went, I can read into it a little bit. I'll start from 18 straight to the point. Surely thou didst set them in slippery places. This to my Esau. Thou castest them down into destruction. How are they brought into desolation as in a moment? They are utterly consumed with terrors, as a dream when one awaketh. So, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image. Thus my heart was grieved, and I was pricked in my reins. That's it. I thought I found it. I misread it. But go on. I'll go back to my previous. Right.
Daniel 4 and 17, this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. And yeah, this is why, just having a rule isn't really something to revel in. Because as far as it's Most High set up over it the basis of men. These guys have been established by the Most High, but then what? It's something that's been given and been taken away. That's kind of with the whole part of the kind of baseline of Esau's whole belief structure, dealing with the image of the beast, is that you can apparently just go and establish yourself through your own means or through your own power. But that's something that these elite need to believe for them to try and that's what they're gonna do. But then that's gonna be to their demise, man. It's all still within the hands of the Most High.
No. I'll read over what I'm reading. Right, so it says, verse 9. I also which shall see him, shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. His children shall seek to please poor, and his hand shall restore their goods. Right. So there's going to be a hope to the point whereby they can basically pacify the children of Israel, right? By basically giving them gifts or favoritism in society, jobs, really any some form of fixture within the society, whereby they make you feel like what, things are looking up. I might as well enjoy myself with this man. But that's all in vain. That's not going to circumvent the Heavenly Father's judgment, right? Those wicked Israelites are basically down with your agenda. Take the words. That's that ain't for the elect. Verse 10. Verse 11 says, his bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. And that's it. That's ultimately where the judgment's going to be. Where this man needs to be destroyed, that's going to be the time where all the things that he's done throughout his generation, they're going to basically be, everything's going to be Though the wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth, yet his meat in his bowels is turned, there is the gall of acid within him. He shall have swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. When verse 23, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and a bow of steel shall strike him through. Right, and that precept is Isaiah 34. Right, the sword of the Heavenly Father come down upon Idumean. Right, the Heavenly Father, the judgment is cemented, it's going to come to pass. Verse 25, it is drawn and it cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out, all terrors are upon it. That's that. What's that? What's up? I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Obadiah 1 and 2 says, Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring thee down to the ground? And yeah, when you do Obadiah, it's going into Esau, going into the so-called white man, and it's characterizing him to where it's like that. Who else? Is that said what? Dwelleth in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high. When you deal with this whole approach to skyscrapers and whatnot, that's all Esau's spirit that everyone else is wandering off. But then also that pride. Because that's really the underpinning of a lot of things that Esau does. Esau doesn't fear the Most High. He's puffed up within himself. You know, the things that he's been blessed with, that he's basically made his ego run rampant. He really thinks, like, who can bring him down to the ground? These elite have been born in them, and this is the thing, is imagine, this is Revelation 20, this is a little season. It's not even like it's been established. You know, you go into these TV shows like Star Trek and whatnot, like in Star Wars, you have it like where it's at, like in a galaxy far, far away. You know, like, it's meant to have been something that's taken place over the course of thousands of years. But then what? This guy has only been re-established for a short little while, man. That little season. And it says what? Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord Jehovah. Yeah, even though you've set your nest among the stars. These are things that Esau's done where he's really hold himself in some esteem, man. But that's the thing, it's the same thing you go to, especially when you go to like Nebuchadnezzar, when his pride was overflowing, he's thinking about all these establishments. You think about establishing statues of himself, having people appointed, to you know, to play the instruments, then everyone will turn and worship. This guy's thinking, really was thinking like he was a god on earth. And that's really the pride that comes with these heathen kingdoms, man. You know, they'll get raised up, then they'll get puffed up with pride. Pride wasn't made for men. And as I read earlier, the Most High set up one, brings down another. It says what? Thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord Jehovah. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Yeah, this, you know, all these things have been done in the dark. Now they're all basically bumped into the surface. That's what the thing with Esau as well is now people are aware of who they're dealing with. part of these rulerships, those things are basically being cast off. It says what? Verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were peace of thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in it. Yeah. All those allies, all the, and that's part of the so-called pride as well. It's like, oh, the whole world's basically gathered under that vibration. But then what you go into what Revelation 19 it says that the kings of the earth, they're basically for a time, they're basically what come underneath that system for a time. But then that spirit's going to be flipped, to where they're no longer going to be peaceful. They have deceived, prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in it. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end every one of the mount of Esau shall be cut off by slaughter. And yeah, that's essentially all this might, especially with those mighty men, those wise men as well. These are the things that right now there's the ultimate pride in. When you deal with weaponries, machineries, and whatnot, those things people are prideful. They're thinking like, yo, okay, we've got missiles, tanks, aeroplanes, bombers, artilleries. People are thinking like, yo, how is anyone going to come against that? Whenever you have the discussion in the U.S. about the Second Amendment, people always say it's like, oh, well, they'll talk about an armed militia, which is what it says in the Second Amendment. But then people are, oh, but how can you go against the government anyway? They've got these guns, they've got the military. But that's what people are prideful in. But that's not new. So I'll read this as well. Isaiah 31:1. Woe to them that go to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh. Yeah, just as the capabilities, the military capabilities of Egypt, people are looking at it like, damn, who can contend, man? That's not something that's new. But now it's different technologies being looked at. There's a quote from Iron Man, the first Iron Man movie. You had the random Arab guy, I can't remember his name. He said like, oh, at one point in time, the bow and arrow was the height of military technology. Whoever utilized it had all over the earth. Then he said, now whoever has the latest stock industry is weaponry. They're the ones who rule. And that's really how Esau's viewing it. He's looking at it now like his military capabilities. A big part of why he rules is correct. When you go to his blessing, it's the sword. But then it's also because basically he's been established. He's been set up. And just like Egypt was set up and made an example of, and felt through it. As far as who is caring about Egypt? People go there to get the picture with the pyramids so they can put on their Instagram. That's why how a lot of these places now exist. They're historical sites. It's the same with Rome. Rome was once that center of the world. It was legendary. Their military capabilities. These guys were, these men were in Rome. They're conquering up to the border of Scotland in the UK. These men were dominating the north of Africa, dominating into Asia. They basically, had the world under their fist. But then what about now? No one's caring about no Roman Empire. They're not a military what do you call it? Force to even be considered, man. But that's the thing. It's funny because people, especially with Esau, they'll reference and look into history, but then they can't key it in. They seem to think, everything's come to an end now. It's just like with the prophecies. The Christians like to say, oh, it's all being fulfilled, but now we're about to see it all come to life, man, in living color.
Everyone's white.
Second Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Right? Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes of the people in the world, alright, and these are a lot of things that people see and are none the wiser. And they may even say, well, when has there been a time that there's never earthquakes? Right? Now we had the elder Ari Allah down last week. He said down there in Texas, like you got the passages where the tornadoes come through. And it says it's a usual thing, but it's been ramped up as of late during this season. Right? And some people may say, well, it's the season. It always happens. But there's a difference. You have to understand what the indicators are. Alright? You have to look at it through a greater watchful eye. And the fact that, yeah, these things happen on a usual basis, on a regular basis. But if they're happening in a way where it's a lot more than usual, it's a whole different type of story. Right? That means that you have to be a bit more mindful of these things. And then on top of that, when it's happening in cahoots with other things that are outlined in the Bible, alright, as far as what that time is, then you know that we're in that time, alright? But just like in the time of Noah, people are eating and drinking and giving in marriage. That's going to be the last thing that people will go to in terms of the time, coming to the conclusion of where the fucked up state of affairs, alright?
I was gonna say, maybe just if it was just the tornado, or just the earthquakes, or just the wars, just one of them, then sure. When you go to the prophecies, it says what? There'll be a multitude of things. And those are things we're all seeing.
Yeah. Verse 4. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world has a beginning and an end, the end is manifest. And the end is manifest. Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder, and powerful works and endings in effective time. And everyone that shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said peril, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. So that's it. Everything's going to only boil down. It's going to only boil down to faith. Do you believe? Right? And really that belief is going to be, put in question. This is why things like, science are a thing. Because science says, with time, science, for example, science says if you overeat, eat too much food,
what's going to happen? You're going to become obese, right? Science says things like drink too much water, you drown yourself to death. And these are things that they can be seen. You know, they come to pass. Eat certain foods and get disease and whatnot. Right? So it may be a factor of, you know, with this said judgment, you can factor in something like, well, if I don't get down with this agenda, what's going to happen? I'm going to carnally, it would seem so. That's right.
But then, you know, it's like, you know, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Against what's, you know, spiritual wickedness in high places. We're basically contending with spiritual matters. Even what we're doing now, we're doing it carnally. We're physically out in the street corners and prophesying. But it's something that's essentially is manifesting something spiritual. This is the kingdom of heaven being built. Which is why it's like, that's the thing, like when you deal with Esau's science, it's basically trying to quantify things just through the carnal. But the carnal doesn't tell the whole, that doesn't give the whole picture. Because as far as it's plain to see. There'll be things that you don't kind of observe and be like, oh, we ain't even got an explanation. I'm good at it. The easiest example to go to is the chariots. These guys are not footage of the chariots. Like there's been like since from the 50s, 60s, whatever. It would basically been like if you start talking about UFOs or whatnot, then you're a crackpot lunatic. They'll be like, oh, they're talking about, oh, these guys saying they were abducted by aliens and blah blah blah. But then come to find out, then all of a sudden, comes to the Pentagon, then it seems like they're not crackpot lunatics. Because these guys have endless footage and records and whatnot of encountering them, dealing with them. And they're like, when it comes to the conclusion, they're like, oh, well, okay, what's the, you know, how can we deal with them or what, you know, it's like, oh, we don't even know. We don't even know where they came from. So that really shows these, you know, that carnal viewpoint. You're going to find yourself coming up short.
Stop shopping at Waitrose.
What's that word I was looking for? I just forgot. Oh, yes.
Why would you do it? Just asking.
Oh, like what? It's a question. Like, it wasn't even like, it wasn't even a no. It's just like, what? Like, bro, so you don't even know what we're doing. Why would you want to do it? You know what it is? Like, they went in the gate. Yeah. That's open the one. I'm expecting like, you know, oh yeah, baby. I'm kind of catered to. Jeremiah 5:30. A wonderful and horrible thing is committed in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests bear rule by their means, and my people love to have it so. And what will ye do in the end thereof? And yeah, this is really the mindset, man. The prophets prophesied falsely. As far as when you deal with the bulk of Jacob, I think it's like what was it? When you when you do the bulk of Jacob, they basically want to hear those smooth things, man. They just want to hear that goodness is gonna come, man. That everything's gonna be nice, everything's gonna be blessed up, it's all gonna be good time. That's the thing, it's like, especially when speaking of what's to come. But if you're in the church, it's meant to have been like a non-stop praying and bliss. Meanwhile, you go back and see like what's life, what's happened, man. It's been nothing but bad times, man. People getting through all kinds of hell. Like you had C-19. Before that, you had austerity. So you had the financial crash. You had the dot-com bubble burst. You had the Iran war. You had all kinds of fuckery happen to people. But then these men are just talking like everything's just gonna be blessed up. Like you're gonna be making money. You're gonna get that job. These guys are basically prophesying falsely. They're just telling lies. Why? It's lucrative. And that's a big angst point that filthy lucrative sake. That's why you have a lot of Jake out there. Even guys who call themselves Israelites, basically prophesying falsely. Because why? It's lucrative, man. There's money in it. And that's why it's like you just have to look at like US mega churches, man. Boy, I say the US, they even got them over here, man. They're mega churches. They got like, thousands of people up in there. Then at the end of the service, there's like 300 people going around with an offering bowl, man. And you'll dash the notes in there. That's why. That's really what they're there for. But then, hey, those false prophecies, that doesn't, divert from the actual judgment that's taking place. Because as it says, what will you do to end thereof? It really what will you do? And that's the thing, that's what a lot of people don't think about. Even now, the time, like, in the midst. What did it say? What was the statistic? I think it was from the US. It said like most Americans couldn't deal with a $300 emergency emergency cost or something. Like most people are barely getting by. They're barely making do. To the point at which when it's gonna be big. It's gonna be on top. And that's why you're gonna have people very clamoring to get that micro seeding. They've been thinking like, everything's just gonna be good. And they're not prepared for hard times.
Eu quero que o padre pedir por mujer.
Isaiah 13 and 14. And it shall be as a chased road, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. Then shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces, their eyes before their eyes, their houses shall be struck, and their wives ravished. Right, so this is what's coming. This is what's set on the cards in terms of what the Heavenly Father is going to do. Right, they're going to basically total destruction in a way where most would never believe. Right? Really, like Simon always says, this society, the Western world, has created a bubble whereby, you know, a lot of things that people indulge in on a day-to-day, once upon a time, you know, you could never imagine this, right? And some may think that's a good thing, but it's actually, it's going to wind up, you know, being a detriment and a big factor in your downfall, right? Because in terms of things like living off the land, or even also just awareness, right? People are not aware of history and certain things that have been invoked before they're, you know, being set into play before their eyes, right? So things like accountability, you know, these are light things. You might say they're things to do with morals and standards and things of that nature, but they're things that have a great effect, a bigger effect than a lot fail to realize, right? If you've never had to be accountable for nothing, what's going to happen? When the time of great accountability comes into play, you're not going to be able to be ill. You're going to be doing the same thing you've been doing to get by. You know, robbing Peter to pay Paul.
I was going to say, even with that mindset, that means like when it's, you know, when the lights turn off, or when suddenly, you know, there's you call 999, nothing happens. The people like that, they might be like, what's that? Don't go and go mad. That's the other aspect. It's a lot of what has allowed society to function is that ultimate accountability of like the police, or being, you know, the ability for someone to get put down or thrown in jail. That would keep people behaving somewhat normally. And then once that goes out the window, you have a lot of people where they might just be like, well, fuck that. Then they'll do a madness. And there's people doing a madness already without that.
Verse 17, behold, I will stir up the beat against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for your gold, they shall not delight it. So even people that, you know, have a lack of morals, get by paying off this one and paying off that one, they're gonna, you know, you're gonna be able to pay off the beans. Beans is speaking about Russia, right? They ain't gonna be accepting no money. Better yet, you ain't even gonna be in a air shop where you can go to the area and say, hey, let me give you this money and give me a black. That's not going to be the nature of that situation. Verse 18, there's also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit. Their eyes shall not spare children, and Babylon, glorious kingdom, Babylon, that's being spoken of there is America, right? Right? All kingdoms that have ever been upon the earth that are worth any form of clout, they're mentioned inside of the Bible. Alright? So I'll read it again. It says, now Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldean excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Right? When you go into the book of Peter, right, I forget which one off the top of the head, it basically speaks of it being an example or an example for new kingdoms afterwards that would live on wood. So you had the example of Sodom and Gomorrah as far as it being a wicked place. And now you have to you've had the example of this place being a wicked place. And guess what? Of Sodom
more in place. And guess what now? You basically have it, you're aware, something you're aware of, and because of it, you're going to be judged.
So, I mean, obviously,
What time did we start? 4 past.
Something like that. Yeah, it's about 2 hours.
You got any verse 20. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it smoke generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabians tend there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold. Right. So this goes into the book of Revelation 18 as well. Where basically it speaks of American destruction. Being sorrowful thing for many people upon earth. Because a lot of people make money. They make bank of America, right? It has a great, an immense amount of trade. Even when you deal with the average salary over in America, it's about 54 grand. So you imagine there's about 300 billion people over there, and an average income over there is about 50 grand. That makes that GDP of that landmass, or great rate of amount of wealth, right? And really, when you deal with the average American, the average consumer over there, shall I say, their disposable income is probably a bulk of that salary that they earn, right? They're big spenders. They like to spend their money. So everyone throughout the course of everyone throughout the earth, they basically generate a lot of wealth for them, right? That's why it speaks about it in Revelation 18, right? And it's speaking about it in this present chapter as well. If the day that America is destroyed, a lot of people are going to be upset because of how much money they generate. Right? So I'll read it again. And it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be broken from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabians neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. Right? So it's basically going to be destroyed, and you're just going to have all manner of just desert creatures dwelling over there. Why? Because America's going to be destroyed, right? And the only people that can inhabit it are going to be those creatures, right? And owls shall dwell there, the satyrs shall be dancing, and the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces, and a time there to come, and a day is coming to be prolonged. Right? It's going to happen in hasty fashion. Right? Though it tarry, wait for it, for it shall surely tarry, but it shall come to pass. This thing is going to be, as I read already, it shall be as a changed road, that no one take up. It's going to happen quickly. Right? It feels like a long time, but hey,
1,000 years is just one day in the heavens.
Yeah.
So. As far as it's really no time's passed.
nah, that's it.
Matthew 24. And so I'll say, start from verse 9. It says, "Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another." So yeah, as far as, for us in this truth, we're basically going to have, be targets. Because why? It's the same thing as in Acts, where, you had the apostles, they essentially were targeted in Rome. It says, "What many shall be offended, shall betray one another, and shall hate one another, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many." So yeah, confusion's gonna abound, false prophets are gonna be out and about, and then what? It's all that so-called trust that's meant to exist within society. It's gonna be revealed that it was only skin deep, let's say. It didn't go so far. Because those are things that even now you can already see. It's completely framed. It says, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." Yeah, that's what we're talking about. With as far as with, once the avenue opens up for people to be able to do a madness, hey, a lot of people, that's what they're going to engage in. They're going to indulge themselves. It's like you already have people now that be, kidnapping people and chopping them up, man. So how much more so when, hey, there's no electricity in certain areas, when there's no form of accountability to anyone in certain areas, where they can just maneuver how they desire. And then what? They're basically going to be running rampant. It says what? But he that shall withdraw to the end, the same shall be saved. This gospel, the kingdom, shall be preached in the world for witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Yeah, so it's about enduring to the end, and this word going forth. That word, that gospel is not talking about Christianity. It's as far as underneath the reins of Christianity, that's done and established. And that's pure confusion anyway. But when it comes to this truth, the truth been hitting globally, man. The internet's carried it, on the four winds to the four corners, to where anyone can access it at any time. And then under that, what do you see now? Prophecy's done been moving, man. Really, since 2020, it's hit high gear. It's hit them driving gears, man. It notched up from third to fourth to fifth, and it's basically, it's everything's coming to a head. But hey, that's only for those that can see. Those who basically, had it revealed onto them. Because there's people where they think, things are better than they've ever been. Which, that's I don't know what kind of life you're living to be, maybe in your particular life. But in reality, things are about to get as bad as they've ever been. And most people aren't prepared, man. They're going to be caught with their trousers down, man. On the bog, like that dude in, was it Jurassic Park? Got munched by the T-Rex. Yeah. So yeah, we'll say praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Shai, by Hashem, Harakah, Kadash, and I want to see the apostles, and those who are most on the more. So on.